All right. So, welcome everyone to Peyton's Extra Scoop. I'm the co-host Jeff Doss, and you have the host here, Peyton. How you doing?
I'm doing amazing. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. So, it's the first time Peyton got to see the intro video. What'd you think?
I think it was awesome. I love it.
Awesome, awesome. So, how has your week been? Everything going? Anything exciting in life going on?
So, not a lot of people know because, we didn't blast it. However, I
Right.
am injured at the moment.
Yes, I just found out today, actually.
Yes, yes. Kyle and Canal found out last week, and it's been about a month now. So, yeah, I sprained my ankle pretty bad. Um, like the week after Amerikick.
Okay. All right. Which
So,
you don't have to tell us which one, or is there a cool story, or is it just something silly? That's always the
I
best
was
part.
I was just training with my student. She was having a lesson with Hakeem, and I went to go do a fake, and like my ankle just it rolled, it popped super loud. Thought it was broken. Luckily, it's not. So
Jeez. Yeah, those are always the worst, man.
yeah, it took me
I mean,
out for
always
about 6 weeks.
how long?
So
6 weeks. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, it just seems like those are the things that we always deal with in our sport. That's probably one of the most common things. But
yep.
yeah, I mean, I've had some pretty bad ankle issues throughout the years, and that became like a finding out later on. It was like my ankles would do as my shoulders would sublux, like they would go out of.
Oof.
Yeah, and so that's why I would roll them like when we would be jogging in PE every day at school. I would roll my ankle like once a week. I'm like, what but I got so used to it, I would just kind of walk it off and whatever. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I This is like my third really bad sprain, but probably realistically like the 10th time I've rolled it. Maybe
yeah,
more.
yeah, of course, of course. All right, we got everybody watching. Leandro, what's up? We even got Alex joining in. That's from Third Shift DJs. Alex Dingman. Amanda says hi. Awesome. Anthony. Hey, how you doing, sir? Awesome. So, all right, we got lots to talk about, and it's going to be an exciting time, exciting show. All right, so the last time we talked, we just got back from Capital Classics, right? So
Yep.
last tournament that happened was Amerikick. Um, just give us a little review of just your opinions on things, and then I'm sure actually some of the topics are gonna have to do
De-
with that, right?
Definitely. A lot of the topics from today have been brought to my attention after Amerikick. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, Amerikick was good. Um, there was a lot of not different faces, but like faces you don't see that often. A lot of faces that have been pretty out there recently that weren't in attendance, but
Okay.
it was still a great tournament. Had lots of fun. I always love seeing friends that I don't get to see that often. Watching my students compete. So yeah, the tournament itself was great. You win some, you lose some, you learn some lessons. My dad always says you don't lose, you learn. So
Right.
there was
Right.
a few lessons learned for sure.
Now, was there any European fighters there for the in the female side? I know we saw a few
Yeah,
on the male side. Share
yes.
show that.
There was this girl from Germany.
Okay.
I believe it was Germany. Yeah, she was from Germany. Super tall, and of course I had to fight her because I always fight the tall people. Why not?
Yeah.
One of the shortest out there, and always fighting the tall people. Um, she was good though. Fighting tall people has always been a challenge for me, and I know it's a challenge for a lot of girls that are my height. A lot of women my height. Fighting taller people in general is difficult. However, it's gonna make me better, and it'll prepare me for the future when I have to fight other taller people.
Right. Right. Definitely. Definitely. Um, and so just that one was one of the only ones that you saw there. I know we saw a few from Corelli there, and Sandros was there on the male side. Um,
I think that was the only one.
Okay.
Aside from like the normal people that come from
Right.
like
WC.
yeah, but other than that, I think she was the only one
Okay.
in the women's. I know most of them were in the men's division.
Yeah.
A lot of the European fighters.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. What was maybe one of the biggest things that you enjoyed about the tournament?
I'd have to say, the environment at this tournament was really good. Aside from some of the judging, I would
Yeah.
say, which isn't normal, it's a given. Everybody was cheering for everybody. The fighting rings were going crazy, and just that energy is what we need in this sport. It's what keeps us going.
Yeah.
It's what makes us want to compete.
Definitely. Definitely. Sorry guys, I'm trying to share, and it's been taking me a while to do it. I used to always be able to do it during the intro video, but all the new stuff that we do to try to, it makes it a little bit slower. All right. So what was maybe one thing that kind of stood out that you would like to see like improved
Um,
besides judging? Because we're going to get to that, and everyone knows that's something that needs to be improved, right?
you know, aside from the judging, I me personally, um, aside from judging, I didn't really have like any complaints.
Yeah.
It was a pretty chill weekend on my end, at least. Maybe I know
Yeah.
it may not have been for a lot of others. However, for me, it was a pretty chill weekend. I got to have a lot of fun. I got to do what I love. So, yeah.
And it seemed like things got done pretty fast. Like I was on the team chat, and it seemed like some people were able
Oh
to
yeah.
go to dinner and things. Oh wait, no, time out. You got to share what you went to. Was it Thursday night or Friday night? Because I was jealous when you went to like a comedy
Oh,
show.
oh. Okay, so there's a funny story behind that. We were on the plane. We had just landed in Atlantic City, and my dad sends me a text, and he's like, "Hey, you want to go see Matt Rife this week on Friday?" And I was like, duh, the heck."
Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah, what do you mean? Do I want to?" Because I've been trying to get tickets for his show for so long, and I want to go to the one in
Right.
Orlando. It was sold out. So he was like, "Well, do you want to go?" And I was like, "Yes, of course I want to go. What do you mean?" So he happened to score us decent seats for a decent price, and then
Yeah.
Haley came with us too. So it was the three of us, and it was a great night. It was hilarious. He is so funny.
Yes, definitely, definitely. He's definitely one of my favorites to watch.
Oh
And
yeah, I know. I heard a lot of people were jealous.
oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. I texted your dad, and I was like, "What the heck? How'd you make that happen? That was cool."
Kyle was so mad. Kyle was so mad too.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right. So, where do you want to start at as far as let's tell I guess a story or something that is on your mind first.
I think I definitely want to start with the underbelts because underbelts
Okay.
are so underrated when it comes to just everything in general, in my opinion. Because they work just as hard as everyone else. The only thing that's different is their belt color.
Yeah.
And it's
True.
not fair for them to get the not so great side of tournament things because
Because of who
they
they
spend the money like we do, and just, yeah, they should get the same amount of respect, the same amount of support, the same amount of just like it does. I'm not saying it has to be a whole like night show, but like what US Open does, I think that's
are.
really appreciated with like, especially me being a coach, me being an
Right.
instructor. It's awesome to see my students on stage.
Right.
So
Yeah.
when it comes to judging and watching them not get the great end of judging, it
Yeah.
kind of sucks.
And I know for me, for someone that works at tournaments and a lot of times my local tournaments, head coordinates tournaments, when I'm trying to find judges at different ones, I know sometimes it's like, oh, well, it's an underbelt ring. They will do okay there, and it's like
Yeah,
that shouldn't be a thing that we have in our mind, right? It should be like, all right, are they qualified to judge any ring on here,
Any
right?
ring, like
Yeah.
at all, because and the thing that was different definitely about this weekend is that I don't know if you had to take a certification to be a judge, but I think you did. You had to take a certification to be a judge, and you had to be at least 18. So that, yeah, that I appreciate.
Yeah.
Because they had to be certified in order to judge. However, if you're gonna certify the people to judge, make sure they do it right.
Right. Right. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, and I think you know, I'm hearing good things about the people that have attended the clinics that have happened at US Capitol
Mm-hmm.
Classics and Amerikick, and I guess they're starting to do it every Thursday at all the world events. Um, have come back with good feedback. I think the thing
Mm-hmm.
is though is that it's not like it's just covering different topics, right? So like
Yeah.
this one, I think focused more on traditional challenge. The last one focused more on creative or CMX, the CMX and extreme style stuff.
Yes.
So, and that's very important because there are so many differences. Like in a lot of ways, it is harder, I think, to judge or to find qualified judges for all the different forms because there's so many different
Oh,
ones, right?
100%. 100%. And not
Yeah.
everybody wants to be a judge, which is also understandable because
Yeah.
judges get yelled at by parents, judges get yelled at by coordinators. Like it's understandable, and like you're volunteering to do it. So I mean, I get it. But at the same time, if you volunteer, you gotta know what comes with it.
Right. Right. Exactly. There's that double, like, all right, you stepped up. Am I trained right for it? Am I prepared for
Yeah.
this? And in the end, it's up to you to make that decision. Am I, and feel good about it. And a lot of times I feel better. Like I'm okay with someone telling me, listen, I just don't feel comfortable doing this.
Yeah,
Instead of
exactly.
someone being like, oh, I'm the best at this and this. And like, dude, you come out to one tournament a year. Don't act like you're some big macho, king of karate, because of this,
Right.
So,
Right.
but yeah.
Yeah, and it was just a couple of my students, they just they they don't the last couple of tournaments they have not gotten the best set of judges. So this is just
Yeah.
something that I've been wanting to like just bring up because
Yeah. No, it
my
needs to.
students, I know every single person that goes out to compete, they work 5 to 7 days out of the week. Some of them work every day. So it's one of those things where watching a couple of my students fight and then the judge per se not stop the clock, or because there was one scenario where the girl had fell, she was out of the ring completely, she was getting back up, the center was asking her if she was okay, they were talking, blah blah blah, and the clock wasn't stopped.
Right. And so, yeah,
And
that drives
the
me nuts.
scorekeeper said she was listening to the center. She was like, oh well, I'm not going to stop the clock unless the center tells me to stop the clock. So it's just some
Yeah.
things that shouldn't
Right.
happen.
Right. Right. And that's where experience overall has to happen. And I don't know if a lot of the scorekeepers or even the judges are getting practice, right? And I think that's
Exactly.
something that has to happen at these events. It's not just sitting and listening to someone tell you what to do. You need to actually get up and like mimic what's going to happen. Okay, what's happening here? Have
Exactly.
these inter school tournaments or whatever. You know,
Yes.
uh,
Yes.
that was something that we always did before our tournament 3 months in advance. Every month we had one, and that way the scorekeepers kind of understood what was going on, right?
Yeah, and what something we do weekly at Florida Sports is we will have team fighting, and a lot
Yeah.
of the times I'll pull parents to scorekeep, and there's always a couple of parents that judge, just so they can get the feel for it, and just so they can understand like what happens and what goes on while you're judging.
Right. Definitely, definitely. Because it is scary, especially it's still, even though you do it here, it's still completely different when you get to a real tournament, but the more
100%.
practice, the better. Yeah. So, and I feel
100%.
like some of the times if we don't prepare them in our own school for it, and then we need a judge, and someone says, "Hey, you're a black belt. You just turned 18, or you're 17. That'll do."
Yeah.
They're like, and they're
Like, what
kind
do
of
I
like,
do?
and they don't want to be disrespectful, especially if they're a young junior black
Uh-huh.
belt. They don't want to, feel like, oh, well, wait, I don't want them to think that I'm not here to help. There's a lot of different feelings, right?
Yeah,
And so I
definitely.
think all of us need to do better at that within our own school, especially if we have, if we are a tournament school, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. Let's hear about, let's see. What's the next part? Do you want to go into the accountability, the video evidence? Where do you want to go into?
Those two go together. So
All
yeah,
right.
I'll start. Let's do it. Being accountable for what goes on, because those
Sounds good.
two go hand in hand for sure.
Yeah.
So this past tournament, my last tournament was Amerikick. So in Amerikick, I was fighting. A point was put on the scoreboard that was not called somewhere along the lines, and when it did happen, at the end of the fight, the score should have been 4-4, and it was 5-3. Or no, it was 5-4. Sorry, it was 5-4. So the other woman ended up winning. And when we had arbitrated it, we had asked like, "Hey, like, what happened?" Blah blah blah. The center was somewhere along the lines of, "Oh, I wasn't paying attention." And a really big thing for me that happened, I don't know if it was this year or last year or something, I was centering a ring, and it happened where I had called a point and my other two judges didn't call a point, and the scorekeeper put it on the board, and I happened to be not paying attention at that point. So this was my fault for not seeing the point that was added. And at the end of the ring, at the end, the kid ended up losing, and then we came back and I saw a video of the fact that I put up the wrong, or the scorekeeper put up a point that wasn't called. So it's just one of those things where, yes, you're a judge and it's your job to call points and to, be watching the fight, whatever. However, it is also your job to make sure that the scorekeeper is doing what they're supposed to be doing. As a center,
you gotta have that connection with the scorekeeper.
Yeah, exactly. Being a scorekeeper is not always easy either, because you have to click key. You have to click the keys, making sure you're clicking the right one. You got to make sure you have everybody checked in. You got to make sure that you do everything properly, because if you don't, something messes up along the lines, whatever. The center, the same way, the center has to manage the ring. That's why they're there. That's why they have the title of being a center judge. You're basically a ring manager.
Correct.
So you got to make sure you take accountability for watching the score. Keep score on your fingers. I know sometimes that's not the easiest thing to do, but it's just something simple that we can all do as judges to make sure the score is correct.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I know for me, it's always like making sure that's the person I need to be the most focused on. Is like, all right, Definitely. Are we ready? All right, you and I are like, we got to work together. We're in sync. All right, no, wait, time out. Like, it's okay to stop the clock to fix something like that. That has to be, done.
Of course. Yeah. I know whenever I first started competing, everything was done on paper. So exactly. It was, you had a timekeeper and a scorekeeper, and the center always said timekeeper, scorekeeper, ready.
Right.
Just to make sure that they were paying attention.
That's right. That's right.
So
those are the worst. I mean, it's tough, and I think we're getting at a point too where it's, because I've even gone to tournaments where, I mean, recently too, where they just do it all here, and it's not even up, and I can't even know what they have on there. I'm just like, stop, time, tell me the score and let me understand if that score is. Yeah, because I've gone to, just kind of, small little tournaments that I've just kind of helped at, or even like inter-school type ones, and they'll do that. And I'm like, wait a minute, that don't seem right. Hold on. And I have to weigh it. Yeah. What
I'll have some of my students do is, like, especially because they volunteer to do it, they're like, can I keep score? I'm like, yeah, whatever, go ahead. So they'll hold up their fingers like this, 2-2, 5-2, and they'll count the score for me.
Yes, that's the best. That's the best. And then, then you have the flip cards that were a thing for a while, right? And
Yes.
that was always good too, but some people, they would get stuck or whatever, but I'd rather have that than nothing, right? So
Yeah, it's better than, and it's also easy just to take a point away if you needed to,
yeah,
because
exactly.
it's wrong, or the score is not right.
Right. So
So,
what was the rule on that? What is there something that maybe video evidence that definitely could have helped, right?
oh yeah, 100%. And not only it was the video evidence of the fact that, so time was called because there was an equipment malfunction, and she was fixing her belt, and when the scorekeeper hit play, I don't know if she had accidentally hit an arrow or what, but she hit play, and you see us like bouncing around, and then all of a sudden we pass the scoreboard, and it says 3-3. So, and it's one of those things where when he said fight, it said
Yeah.
3-2.
Okay. And then later
And
on,
my dad has it on video. I know a lot of other people have it on video, and they were watching. The scorekeeper herself even mentioned on Facebook that she messed up.
Right.
She was taking accountability for her actions.
Right.
She was holding herself accountable, which is what should happen. So in this case, video evidence definitely should have been looked at.
What is the rule on that currently? Like,
apparently the ruling in NASCA is they don't take video evidence.
Right. And so I talked about this after I got back from the AAU Taekwondo Nationals, right? So they have point fighting, and they have a video review rule. Like you can have a protest. And they had one time that it was used. It was the first year they did it.
Mm-hmm.
You pretty much have one, almost like football, where you could have one per match. Now,
Mm-hmm.
it has to be based on like either there was an error on the way it was scored, but not just like, oh, wait, that was a point. It wasn't that. It's right. Hold on.
Something's wrong.
There was an issue with the judge said, hold on. Yes, you gave my person a because in AAU it's body points is one,
Mm-hmm.
kick to the head is two. So the idea was just that, hold on, most of us thought that was a 2-pointer.
Mm-hmm.
And the judges, some of them thought that too. But so they did the review, and it actually did hit to the body instead of the head. And so it stayed of what it was. And it was just a cool, way. And it didn't take long, like everyone thinks it would, to slow down the tournament. But there needs to be some type of kind of, it can't be everything, right? That's just too much.
There should be it should be black and white. There should be no gray area. Like if you're doing an arbitration for a point that was called that wasn't put up, or if you're doing an arbitration for a point that was given that wasn't supposed to be given, or something along the lines of that, like where you're not the only person that saw it happen. Because in this case scenario, I wasn't the only person that
that saw that.
Yeah, I wasn't the only person that saw it. The person that I was fighting also said that, like, she said she tried to talk to the judges, and she was like, hey, like, we both agree to like redo it. Can we?
Yeah.
And he said no. So it was just one of those things where it wasn't just me that saw it. It wasn't just Kyle. It wasn't just my dad. It wasn't just, my side. It was their side too. And I know I'm not the only person this has happened to.
Right.
Because I've done it as a judge. And it's just,
exactly.
one of those things.
Yeah, Brett was saying that's a tough one. You really can't do video unless all rings are videoed equally. He's saying the WKF does it, but it's regulated to every ring has multiple camera angles. And so AAU is doing there is a center camera angle, and then there's also one on the other side. So they have two views. That's the way that they are doing it and trying it out and kind of seeing what happens from there. But I think that's something that's possible, especially since half the time, like the laptop that they use for that can also live stream. Yeah,
Yeah,
it has a camera. So there's capabilities to at least start making a step towards that, right?
100%. And not only that, but there's a lot of there's a lot of live streams going on at these tournaments to begin with.
Yeah.
Point Fighter Live usually always has one on one of the fighting rings
Right.
or a couple of the fighting rings. Sport Martial Arts has the they have their videos up and stuff. So it's possible 100%. And I get like, because say the point didn't happen and it was just from my dad's point of view,
Right.
obviously he would fight
Right.
for me,
Right. Of
you
course. Yeah.
know, unless he knows that it was wrong.
Right.
So
Yeah, and I think Juventus has it where they every ring is live streamed through that, I believe. It used to be. I don't know if they still is anymore, but a lot of them
I'm not
were done that way. But
I'm not
but yeah,
sure.
I mean, but I know they have video at most of them from their from the scorekeeper's view. So
Yeah,
yeah.
for sure.
So definitely something to to discuss and to bring up. But again, I think overall the biggest thing is underbelts need, don't give us the bottom of the barrel, right? Because
Exactly.
we want to build our sport and build the future. And that was something that I feel like needs to be done. I like the announcement that they did that they're going to do at America, like do a NASCA overall underbelt like finals at that tournament next year.
Mm.
So almost like a super grands, but for underbelts. I think that was a cool idea. I'm looking forward to hear more about that.
Oh yeah,
Um,
100%.
yeah, so I think that's a really cool thing. All right, how do you want to finish? You got something you want to finish with, or maybe should we get a couple people that are watching to try to come up with a question or something? What do you want to do? Do
I
you have
like that
some
idea.
to
Good
have?
idea.
All right. So, guys, if you have a question that you want Peyton to answer or to finish off the show with, go ahead right now. This is uh, okay. Well, this is something to do with what we're just talking about. But Kimberly was asking, are there classes that train judges in the new technology? Not really. Some of the circuits do, right?
Yeah.
So USA Sport Karate trains their judges, right?
USA Sport Karate has us take a certification. But the thing with USA Sport is, so I've been judging. I started judging with Blitz, which is what it was before they merged with Kick. I started judging
Right.
it with Blitz when I was like 15. Mr.
Yeah.
Jeremy had us starting early so we could get the experience. And a lot of
Correct.
the times, a lot of us, like a lot of the newer ones, were like the favorited judges because I guess I don't know if it was because we weren't biased or what, but like we were typically the favorited judges.
Right.
So
Right.
I know I've been judging since I was like 15,
Right.
and
Yeah.
um,
And
they have
that's
this
yeah,
they have this system where the younger judges are like the interns, so they're in their training phase of judging.
I like that. I like that. That's
So
really
it's
cool.
just it's
That's really,
something, yeah, it's something that tournaments can, I think, implement, especially if the younger kids are willing to do it.
yeah, definitely, definitely. I know so as far as the AAU, they have it where all the judges are kind of like Waco, where they have different tiers, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so you have a lower level judge that gets paid a certain amount, B level judge that get paid more than the highest level judge that gets paid the most, right? And but you have to do several, like 4 or 5 times a year, test, online tests, and then also
Mm-hmm.
go to 2 events throughout the year that to train. And then, of course, the day before, they have training and stuff throughout the week of the
Mm-hmm.
nationals and everything. So, and I know AAU does the same thing. I mean, AAU karate does the same thing for
Mm-hmm.
theirs. So, you know, they I always look at those organizations that are the most organized, and they have 8 judges at every ring that every one of them is getting paid for, and they can switch
Oh
in and
yeah.
out. Like, it's working, and it's for a reason. So, if that can happen there, it can happen here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Same thing
yeah.
with like I know the Waco circuit is really organized too,
Yes.
and because I will always go back to when I went to Bristol. They had this big screen up telling us where we were going to be, and like just the judges in general, they were all dressed in the same exact attire, and they were all set on the same exact rules of what was going to happen.
Right.
So
That's right.
you can tell that they were trained that way.
So uniformity, right? We got to get back. We got to get that going, and that way, if we have that, then we can have solid judges, not just in the black belt divisions, but the underbelts as well. So,
yes,
ended up with a common theme throughout how we started and finished the show. So, all right, Peyton, what do you got this weekend?
I got recovering. Plans to go to Halloween Horror Nights the whole weekend.
Halloween Horror Nights. Oh man. Oh god. See, I was just telling Canal today. No, I don't do scary stuff. Okay, I don't need to do all that.
It's so fun.
I'm sure it's fun. I'm sure it's fun. No, I joked about I got a message for someone to vote for Kaylin for the Halloween thing, right? And I'm like, yo, I can't even stare at that too long. That's too spooky for me. All right, it's too spooky for me.
I voted.
So I gotta go do that, and I'll have to stare at that crazy, scary stuff. But yeah, I'm actually flying at 6 a.m. to Jacksonville for a 3-day instructor training and business training and stuff. So I'll be in Jacksonville this weekend. So yeah, lots of training and working.
Come visit my school.
Well,
we're open.
Yes. All right. Well,
like 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock. There we go. All right. Well, have a blessed one. And this was a great show. And guys, keep sharing, keep telling everyone about it. And this is Peyton's Extra Scoop. And we're getting used to this and having a lot of fun.
Definitely.
Great job.
So much fun.
All right, guys. Y'all have a blessed one. And we'll see you next time.
Good night, guys.